All right, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for coming here today with our worship. Mayor Drew Dilkens is here with me, and we're here to talk about the decision that was rendered today. Rendered the decision today with respect to LPAT and on the 42 and 9 zoning issue. And I'll have Drew provide a few words. Before we start, I just want to thank those individuals that are here today on such short notice. We have members in our audience from the Hospital Foundation, John Camiso, and also the Hospital Board Chair, Dan Wilson, and then individuals from the community group 42 Forward. Yes. That's really stepped forward, and Drew will speak about that as well. So again, I'll pass it over to Mayor Dilkens.
Well, thank you very much, David. Just really happy to be here today. Obviously, the decision from LPAT that came out earlier this morning was not one that we expected. We didn't know when it was coming, but it just happened. And certainly it was very good news for the applicant, which is the hospital, but also very good news for the community. I think for the entire region, and it's something, discussion that's been going on in the community for some time, something that has been well anticipated, and folks have been waiting for this decision. And really, it doesn't matter where David and I go, and folks in my office as well, whether we're at Costco or anywhere else in the city, it's the number one topic that people want to discuss. They want to talk about, let's move forward with the hospital. They want to see this project move forward. And I get that there's been a lot of discussion in the community about location, and I think the decision today tried to separate that. They talked specifically about the focus of the appellants on the location, but that actually the application was about rezoning. And so the decision today by LPAT to dismiss the appeals by both CAMPP and the 386 appellant are very good news in terms of the council decision now standing, the rezoning moving forward, and of course that means then that the hospital can proceed to do what they need to do to advance the interest of the community, the interest of the region, and really everyone's interest to see better health care delivered in Windsor and Essex County. And I respect every issue that I have to deal with as mayor. In the last 13 years as a city councilor and as mayor, there have been always folks on either side of an issue. It doesn't matter what that issue is, there is always someone who has a different opinion than the one that a politician would bring forward, or the one that a hospital and their board would bring forward. And I respect that that is a healthy part of the democratic process. But I think today's decision really speaks to the need now of us to have to come together to say that we've gone through that democratic process, and that we need to find a pathway forward to work together to make sure that we can get this $2 billion investment in our community. Yes. There is no doubt, anyone that works in healthcare in our city, anyone that works in this hospital or on OLET, anyone who's been a patient or who's had a loved one as a patient, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. I don't even need to spell it out for you. You just intuitively understand. And the people who work in these facilities in Windsor do a great job with the facilities that they have available, but those facilities are inadequate by today's standards. And so it's time we come together, we move forward as a community, and we say, we want to get this project done. And we're doing that, and why it's important, and we're doing that because we want to see better health care, but it's important because there are still significant headwinds in front of us in terms of working with a provincial government who's in the middle of an austerity program, and not having folks in our community, in our region, who sit around the government table directly advocating on our behalf. And so we need the community to come together to help empower our local MPPs. Percy Hatfield being a great example. He's already emailed me and David to say that he's spoken with the Minister of Health earlier today to say, how can we move this project forward and what's the timeline? And so the whole community is getting behind this. It's time that we all come together and say, we've gone through this process, we need to do better, we've gone through the fight, and let's come together and make sure that we can deliver great health care for the future of our residents in Windsor and Essex County. And I want to thank David and the board and the entire team at Windsor Regional Hospital. And I have said 50 times, so I'll say it 51 times, that in the 13 years that I've been a municipally elected person, I've probably dealt with hundreds of rezoning applications in the city. And there is no question in my mind that the submission made by Windsor Regional Hospital to rezone these lands was one of the most compelling, most well thought through and comprehensive submissions that I have seen in my time as a municipally elected person. And so it gave me great comfort to throw my support and for City Council to throw their support behind the rezoning, because it was just, on the face of it, so well done and done by people who knew exactly what they were talking about and were experts in their field. So David, to you and the team, congratulations on today. We know, and the media will know, and everyone in the audience knows, that this is an important step forward, but it may not be the end. And so there are avenues available to the appellants to seek judicial review through divisional court. There's timelines put to that, so you'll know probably within the next 15 days to 30 days what their next steps may be, and we'll respect that part of the process as well. But at the end of the day, now is the time to come together. Let's rally as a community. Let's fight to get this huge investment. And I have said to David many times and others that when I look forward in the next 10 years in my community, and I think of having the largest infrastructure project in Canada's history today happening in our backyard with the Gordie Howe Bridge, and the construction of the Gordie Howe Bridge, and 2,500 jobs taking us to 2025. And I think on the tail end of that, a $2 billion investment, 1,100 jobs, several years to construct, and maybe the Ambassador Bridge will get their act together and move forward with an investment as well. But when I fast forward the next 10 years here in the community, things are going to be quite well if we can line this project up. And those are in addition to all the other great things happening. In the last year, we've seen our building permits double, the applications for building permits in the city. So there's a lot of momentum in Windsor, Essex today. We need to keep building on that. And I want to thank you all for being here, 42 Forward. Thank you for your support, and the other groups in the community. Jeff Casey is here, and others who've come forward to say we want to be part of something. We want to show our support. We want to link to something that's positive for the community. You've done that. We appreciate it. And today, small step forward. Congratulations to all involved. David?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Dilkens, for that. And as stated by Mayor Dilkens, and we've talked about this before, now's the time for those individuals who oppose the location to be part of the planning, be directly involved in the planning of the new Windsor Essex hospital system. They can make dramatic improvements to what we live in today and be part of the planning moving forward. We have some exciting plans as we move into stage 2 of the planning. The concept is to get the community involved, directly involved. Individuals that want to be part of a particular program's, not only planning how the program's going to be operated, but planning how it's going to be designed. And they're going to be at the table along with the healthcare professionals, because our community has a lot of knowledge and a lot of individuals who can add value. And at the end of the day, this hospital is their hospital. So it would be great that they're at the table, part of the planning, so the end product they can say they were involved, because it's going to be the product they're going to use and their families are going to use for years to come. So now's the time, again, for those groups who don't support the location to be part of that. And it's time to move forward and send that message to the government of the day. We're ready. This is something our community deserves. It's definitely something our community needs, as Mayor Dilkens outlined. And it's time to get this project moving forward. So again, really want to thank those individuals of 42 Forward, that grassroots group. Gunther Wolf's here today. He showed up on a moment's notice. He heard about this and showed up on his own. And that's our community. That's what makes Windsor Essex what it is. And want to thank Mayor Dilkens, City Council, county council, all the county councilors. I mean, their recent motions of support, not only for the project, but for the location. And I don't know, I'm into the second century, half century of my life. And I was born in this city and county, and I've lived in the county and lived in the city, both, a couple times in over 50 years. And I have never witnessed a decision of this magnitude where you have as many city representatives and county representatives and MPPs and MPs all supporting this project and supporting the location and moving the project forward, let alone the $200 million that has been put forward by the residents of Windsor, Essex to make this a reality. Like, folks, if we don't embrace that and move this forward, I don't know, I've never seen it in my lifetime, a decision of this magnitude to have this much support. So it's time we move forward. It's time we put this behind us. We can't have any further delay, because every delay, there's a patient, even last night, family called, upset with the fact they're in a room with 8 other people and sharing a bathroom. Folks, come on, that is not healthcare in this century or even last century. It's time to move this project forward and get it done. And put aside issues with respect to location, become part of the planning. So I look forward to that. Hopefully that's the case. We can get this project moving forward, and as Mayor Dilkens outlined, the investment is staggering with respect to the investment in healthcare, with respect to construction. I'm sorry, I did it for you. With respect to construction, let alone with respect to our staff and them being in facilities, not having to worry about today's infrastructure tragedy that will happen in these existing facilities that they have to cope with. Their focus should be on the patients and the families, and unfortunately, sometimes it's not. So, and that's clearly no fault of theirs, because they do a great job when we have these issues arise. So again, thank you everybody for coming, and I guess we're ready for any questions.